This matter of being included in other things and other people's lives is very important to all of us, isn't it? I mean, we have the holidays coming up. If we were never invited to a Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner, if we didn't have somebody to open up gifts with, it would make us feel pretty bad, right? We'd probably hang our head in sorrow, sulk off somewhere, and just pity our own selves. But that's not really a constructive way of dealing with things. It doesn't just happen during the holidays. It happens during all different times of the year, likewise, and for all different reasons. We will make friends with people for no particular reason, just simply because it flatters our self love. It makes us feel important. It validates us, right? That's what it does. It validates us. But what I want to tell you, what I hope that you derive from this video today, is that it's very important that you learn to appreciate yourself and that you enjoy spending time in your own company, that you have a good reason to, and that's okay, and that you're okay. That's what I hope you get from all of this. Now, before I go any further, let me just explain something. If you haven't ever seen my videos before, please understand that I try to create content that encourages other people. I'm not just trying to make people feel good. I am trying to dispense some kind of, I guess, some kind of wisdom as much as I possibly can, but it's meant to be an encouragement and nothing more than that, really. Okay, so if you are interested in that, check out all my other videos. I think that you'll get some meaning from them. So that I would appreciate if you would like this one before you head off to something else, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you like my beard, if you're here because of the beard, or maybe it's the hat, I don't know. Um, Make sure you check the link below. I'll try to put a link below for where I got this hat, and you can find out what kind of beard products I use, and I can help you save some money in the process. So look at all that below in the description. Don't miss that, okay? So being included. What I want to tell you in a nutshell is don't ever force yourself somewhere where you don't belong. That doesn't necessarily feel good to hear that, right? And you might say, well, I never do that. Well, maybe not now, but you probably have in the past, and you probably will in the future. You know, when I was a young man, and I'm not proud to say this, I didn't feel included for a lot of reasons. I grew up as a pastor's kid, and nobody at church and nobody at school likes the pastor's kid because, or at least they didn't during my time. They felt like that they had to have a different kind of behavior around you, or that you were going to be judging them, or something. So you were automatically an outcast. You get laughed at a lot. You get picked on a lot. You get bullied a lot. Okay, so you're never really included in too much of anything, and I never really liked that. I grew up with a lot of pain in that regard. So you know what I would do? I would force myself into circles. I would force myself into groups. I would try to force my way into relationships that I did not have any business being a part of, simply for the fact that I wasn't wanted. You might say, well, that's kind of wrong for other people to be that way. Well, the issue here isn't fixing other people. We can't do that. We can't fix other people. We can only work on ourselves. And there is a way around this. I mean, you can propagandize this in all sorts of different ways that you want. We can talk about ending bullying, including other people, and being tolerant. We can talk about that all we want, but that stuff is never going away. Okay? And sometimes it's not a matter of people bullying us. Maybe we just don't fit. You know, we can't all fit in every place and with every group of people or interests. We just can't. And that's okay. But you have to become comfortable in your own skin and confident of your own ability to entertain yourself and find ways of enjoying life, even if you're never included in anything, which you will be. Let me just say that right up front. You will be. But even if the worst case scenario happened, you're going to be okay. But not unless you actually believe that. In 1985, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers had a huge hit called Don't Come Around Here No More. Okay? This is kind of an interesting story, the way this song came about. The song was actually written by David Stewart of the Eurythmics and Tom Petty himself. And the inspiration for this came about because of a party that Petty and Stewart were invited to. at Stevie Nicks' house. And David Stewart says that when he was invited by Stevie Nicks, he didn't really know her too well, didn't know much about her, but he went anyway to the party. So him and Petty went, and this was like a day after Stevie Nicks had broken up with Joe Walsh of the Eagles. Okay, surely you know that name. And while they were there, at some point during the night, um, Stewart and Petty said that Stevie Nicks and some other people romped off to a bathroom for several hours to snort cocaine. And and at 5 o'clock in the morning, one of them, like either Petty or Stewart, woke up around 5 a.m. and to see Stevie Nicks twirling around in a Victorian dress, almost like an Alice in Wonderland type of experience. She was twirling around in a dress, and it was kind of weird. I mean, it sounds weird hearing about it. Can you imagine seeing it? And Joe Walsh walked in, and Stevie Nicks screamed at him, "Don't come around here no more." That's how that song came about. Stevie Nicks really wanted that song for herself, and some versions of it you'll see her singing in it. But it's a big hit for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. But yeah, that's how that came about. And she thought that Tom Petty did a better job of it than she did, so he pretty much gets all the credit for it. But don't come around here no more. See, here's the thing. Even if you are included, let's just say that you're the kind of person, you're the kind of guy, you're the kind of gal that people like, and they want to include you. Doesn't mean that everything is for you. I know people who are such social butterflies that they will go wherever they're wanted. They will go wherever they're wanted. And this is how they make bad friends. That's how they find themselves in situations that kind of grow out of control, and then they're guilty by association. Or people who are not necessarily wanted, but they force themselves in, like Joe Walsh did. Joe Walsh walked in where he was not wanted. He was broken up with by Stevie Nicks the day before, and he inserted himself where he was not wanted. She screamed at him, and can you imagine how humiliating that would be? But maybe not for them. I mean, if they're all high, and I mean, given the circumstances, maybe it wasn't that humiliating. But in a lot of cases, I know in my own life where I have tried to push myself into associations where I did not belong, whether it's a relationship with a woman, or just friends with other people, or maybe I just, I remember walking up to a table in a cafeteria one time at a place that I worked, and I wasn't a part of the group of guys, but as I sat at the table, all of them were talking to each other, and I kind of nodded my head and tried to, acknowledge what they were talking about, and they were insisting on making sure that I knew I was not part of the group. So I dug in, and I made sure they knew I was. I just, I wasn't belligerent, but I was probably obnoxious. I made sure that I was all happy-go-lucky and act like I was just one of them, and I did it kind of out of anger. I kind of wanted them to know that you're not going to do this to me. Well, that's not the right solution either. Make sure that you do not insert yourself where you are not wanted. You guys, you young people, and perhaps even you girls, I say girls, young women, I guess it could really include anybody, even people who are divorced and on the scene again. If you get the sense that you're not wanted, that you're not included, don't try to force it. Don't let somebody get to the point where they tell you to don't come around here no more. Because what's worse than not being included is being reminded of it. It's being screamed at. It's having it loudly broadcasted that you haven't taken the hint. But none of this will be a problem for you if you're confident in your own skin. If you can say to yourself, listen, just because I'm not involved with this group doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Just because I'm not invited, just because I'm not a part of it, doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Because you know what? In reality, I might not even really want it anyway. I don't need that validation. I don't need to have my ego stroked. I don't need them to make me feel good about myself. Okay? So make sure you remember that. Make sure you remember that you need to learn to feel okay about yourself. How do you do that? Well, it takes time. It takes time. I think it's good to be alone and to hear no other voices but your own. When you speak to yourself, and you reaffirm yourself, you become your own best friend. And that's what a lot of my videos do cover. I talk about a lot of this stuff, so you can refer back to those also. This one video here is not meant to answer all of them. It's not meant to answer all the questions. It's just meant to challenge you to not include yourself where you're not wanted. Okay? I hope you remember this. I hope you think about Stevie Nicks, and Tom Petty, and Joe Walsh next time you think about forcing your way in where you don't belong. All right, guys, I've enjoyed this. I hope you have too. I hope you derived some meaning from it. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe. All right, bye-bye.